Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? I'm here with Matt from Crossing I's and Dotting T's. They are a band, and I will now introduce Matt and let him tell you what kind of band they are so I don't fuck up a genre label for somebody. What's up, Matt? How you doing, man?
Hey, good. Thanks for having me. Yeah, genre-wise, see, that's always something that, we decided it's just alt rock. It's been kind of categorized as a lot of different stuff from, punk to new grunge to emo to even post-hardcore. I've seen in some reviews, and I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, but yeah, it's just alt rock, really, with emo lyrics, pretty much.
So why don't you give me a little backstory about how this all came together, how Crossing I's came together?
Yeah, so, it started off from my cousin, who was my best friend. He had passed away at 21 due to cancer. It kind of sparked the whole, me making the band, and I basically making the music, because I started off as a solo group, a solo project back in 2020, at the end of 2020, and I put out a few songs, like 4 songs that aren't out anymore. I took them off, but they were what got me signed to the label that I'm on, Golden Robot and Riot Records. And from there, we did a jam in the band session over here in LA, like a live session in the studio. It's literally in a van. I don't know if you know Jam in the Van. It's pretty well known, but we did one of those, and I did that just with like my buddy on guitar, and then I had somebody that I hired to play the drums and, bass just for like session for the show. And once that got put online, I had some people reach out to me, and had a bassist reach out saying, hey, are you looking for a band member, blah, blah, blah. And it was like just perfect. I was like, yeah, I actually am. I never really thought about it. But yeah, I guess I am. If you guys are down. And he had a guitarist who he was kind of writing some stuff with, and that's how that came together. We still were drummer wise. We literally just found a drummer 2 weeks ago that is going to be going to come and pull with us and do all that stuff. But before, we just had a guy who we paid sometimes to come play with us and stuff like that. But that's pretty much a lot. But that's how we came to be in the short span that it's been.
I'm sorry to hear about your cousin. I know that can be hard. I've dealt with it myself, so my condolences there. So when it came to finding music, and because I know when you grow up, there's 2 pivotal moments for you as learning to like music. It's the first time you hear music, and then the first time you find your own music. Do you remember the first time you heard music?
Yeah. So there's only the thing. That's a funny thing, because there's only a few bands that I really, really love, in that I could listen to all their albums, and I would fangirl if I ever met the front man or anybody in the band, but that's why it's one of them is the Counting Crows, and it's funny because it doesn't really relate at all to our music, but they were somebody who it's one of my dad's favorite bands, and he used to play them all the time, their CDs and stuff, the artists and everything after CD, and I was absolutely, it was something that, I don't know, it was something different. That's the first thing that I could hear that wasn't, just random, I don't know, jingles or music stuff that stuff like that. But I remember that was actual music that I first started listening to, and that was one of the only bands that I've continued to listen to and absolutely love them. See them 4 times live and stuff like that. But that's the only one that I can quite remember, other than just the 70s rock, classic rock, and 80s rock type, Zeppelin and all the hair metal type stuff that you just listen to from your dad and stuff. But Counting Crow is really the only one that I can really remember.
And then what about when you started to find your own music? Because I know that's a huge part of, my life, was when I started to find stuff on my own and figure out my own sound.
Yeah, I listen to like a lot of stuff. I can't remember a time where I started listening, to have my own sound, because I've just always been listening to so much music since I was younger, and a pretty eclectic variety, but all rock based. I just don't like pop music or I mean, that's a lie though. I like there's some songs I like top musicians that I like, but for the most part, I don't really like pop or like EDM or stuff like that. So for me, like, I'll listen to anything, if it's from, indie to surfy to hardcore to metal to, anything. And like I said, since I don't really have a a lot of bands that I'm really like, oh, I really love them, I really love this. So I like a lot of different stuff for a lot of different bands, and that's why it's hard to even categorize our genre, because like we write songs, and the EP that we released, it's hard to say, oh, this sounds like this band, this sounds like this band, just because we didn't have. Well, I wrote it, so like I didn't have one main influence. It was kind of, I guess, I was listening to a lot of like '90s type alt rock bands, and then just a lot of modern bands, but like there was nothing like if you can't hear really much influence, I wouldn't say on too many songs except for one of them. But it was really, so I listen to a lot of different stuff, and I'm not very picky when it comes to, I'm not somebody who's snobby when it comes to music, really, like saying, listening to like songs, like, oh, like that they should have put, a bridge here instead of a solo, or like that kind of stuff. I don't really listen to it for that. I just kind of listen to feel of songs and the lyrics I like a lot and stuff like that. So I don't really have an exact moment or bands that I remember that I was like, oh, these are the bands that I really like, because I can't even tell you how many bands that I like that I don't really love.
So, I mean, I'll tell you, listening to the EP, it brought me back to, and I'm quite probably a bit older than you, but it brought me back to like the early '90s of when punk rock was making that turn to actually no longer being DIY, but being creative with it. So like the early Lookout Records days and early Fat Records days, and it brought me back to like some older bands that I grew up with, that I was like, it literally hit a light bulb in my head, and it made me think back to that day. I'm like, oh, this is like, it's almost like a resurgence of something in me, because it was like, wow, this reminds me of back in the day when I'd get the new Screeching Weasel album, and like long ago, and I was like, this reminds me of that kind of punk rock, when it started to actually write riffs and chords and song progression, and it start to work together, as opposed to before the earlier late '80s stuff of just DIY and screaming and yelling and being punk rock and angsty.
Yeah, because that's true. Because it is all. I mean, really, like, punk is the. I wouldn't say that's like the main focus that going for, but like it's just hard not to say that it's not, because it's vocal wise. I guess vocal wise, it is as punkier, like post hardcore kind of. So that's how I say it's like punky, but it's not super like punk rock or like like double time super quick stuff. And I don't know, but I don't explain it that well. But yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
When did you start to play music? Did you grow up in a musical household?
No, I started making this in 2020. I wrote some songs before, but I never really played the guitar. I never really did much until that happened, until my cousin's thing happened. And it just kind of took off. I kind of did it, wrote some songs that did well, and it kind of just took off from there, funny enough. So no, we did not grow up in a musical household by any means. I didn't have my brother, nobody, my parents, nobody did any type of music.
Wow. So, I mean, out of all bad must, some good must come. And I guess this was your good. I mean, that's, amazing that you didn't play music or do anything with it until, that happened. What was that? What was the driving force behind that, if you don't mind me asking, of saying, you know what, I love music. I want to start writing music.
Yeah, I was kind of stuck in my life in general, and me and my cousin really connected over the same type of music, and like truly not a lot of like nobody of my other friends, nobody else that I knew really connected with the type of music that I liked. Like true, like I mean, like DIY, like emo type of music, like the Joyce Manners and the Fiddlers of the world, and those kind of bands that they're big and they have following and stuff, but it's DIY production, and it's really kind of aggressive, and it's shouty, and it's not perfection, and that's the stuff that we love. Like I love live shows and live sessions and audio tree sessions. That's why I love Jam the Band, those kind of things. So because it's just so real and so raw, and you don't really get all the big production and the vocal production. Something that you just hear how it's kind of is, not strict, but I mean you just hear it in its realness and its rawness and its sped up tempo and slowed down and yada yada. But so those are the kind of things that we would kind of enjoyed about music. And once he passed, I mean, it was just like I was like I've been obsessed with music, and I was like, well, why not? Why can't I make these? I mean, it can't be too hard, So I just started doing it, and I did it, and it was because I knew that he would be like, this is unreal. If I did this, like this, I think he saw like where I've taken it in a year, he'd be just shocked. So it's kind of just always for him and that kind of thing. But I was stuck in my life too and just didn't know what to do. I was just working, a job out of college that I got that I wasn't really stoked on, that kind of stuff. And I was just not doing much. So I wanted to do something that felt like mattered.
Well, that's awesome, man. And I mean, when you think about it, I really wish that there was more people like you that would look at something when you're not happy and things are going wrong, and focus your energy to something else and basically create what you created. I mean, that in and of itself is just a glory story of just a win in life after a huge loss.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. It's hard to, and I do, a lot of times look on the downside of things and stuff, and I was kind of tired of it, I guess, and I wanted to just do something. I was already, still mourning and sad about it and all that stuff, and once that didn't wear off, but once it kind of was able to clear my head a little bit more, and I was like, all right, well, I need to do something and needs to be productive, and I figured, why not this? So yeah, thank you.
Now, if someone hasn't heard of your band and you met a stranger and you told them you were in a band, and what song of yours would you play from that would best describe what you are?
I would do probably Regret Stained Memories. Probably the most popular one, but it's the direction of where we're going for the album. Just like big and kind of more grungy alt rock and big choruses and quiet verses, kind of a Pixie Nirvana method type deal.
Is that your favorite song you've written so far? Or
I think that I don't know. I think 7:45 a.m. That's my favorite one that I've written. But everybody says that Regret Stained Memories is their favorite, yada yada. So, but 7:45 is my favorite.
Nice. And you mentioned before about live music. And for me, live music is everything. I live my life at shows. That's where a majority of my enjoyment comes from, is just that ethereal feeling of just watching someone perform live and it just blowing me away. Do you remember your first show you ever saw live?
I don't remember the exact show that I saw live, and the one that was the most impactful, the first one that was like actually impactful for me was Counting Crows, or Joyce Manor, but probably Counting Crows. So I'm with Matchbox 22. Love those, yeah, actually. Kind of pop music.
Nice. And Counting Crows for me is, I grew up in that era when they were blowing up, and I mean they're amazing. I've gotten to see them a couple of times, and Dirts is just an amazing fucking man, and listening to him on other shows and stuff, and just like his life that he had just from the becoming of a musician and a star to everything that happened in there is just like, it's one of the coolest stories ever. I mean, the guy was the bartender at the Viper Room, in the 90s.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah, he's been everywhere.
So how many times have you guys performed live so far?
I think like 30.
Do you have a show that stands out to you so far?
Not necessarily. We played. It was funny when we played like on this bus, on the top of the bus. It was like a double decker, like English style bus in San Diego. It was like rolling through like the city during like Pride Week, and it was just insane. It would be like post up and stop, and it was just an insane day. Just a lot of booty cheeks hanging out and stuff everywhere. And that's the only one that was like funny and like cool. But all the shows have been pretty fun. We had one that was like a Christmas show through this the collective, and it's a Collective California. It's called. It's just like a production company out here. They threw a show at FTG in Santa Ana, and a lot of people showed up, and it was just a really fun time. We all ended up shirtless, and that was the first time it's ever happened. Me and my bassist, we always end up shirtless usually, or unclothed of some sorts, ripping our shirts off. But our guitarist and drummer are a lot less inclined to do so. But everybody
less flashy.
Yeah, everybody else in the crowd though got them to take their shirts off, and it was a moment. It was one.
Now, you started with a goal and you're continuing with it. Where do you foresee this going? What do you want to do with this? Is this something you just want to keep going and just saying, hey, like, going to take over the world. I'm going to create music because it's where I get release of my pain and keep going? Or do you have a big goal in mind with this project?
It's both, but it's definitely both. And it started off because I wanted to get stuff off my chest, but now seeing that I can be pretty successful with it, it's like Coachella. It's like Coachella bus type thing. Like I swear, like it's give it a few years. I just keep making good connections and stuff like that. So there is definitely really, really big picture. We really want to do some big things and release records. Like we're about to release we're not about to, but we're recording for our debut album, and it's going to be a vinyl, and that's really important to me. I've always wanted to press a vinyl and sell vinyl, so that's going to be super awesome for me. I'm like super stoked on that. But other than like just longevity and like releasing like a few albums, few records with the same lineup, that's kind of a big thing for me. But also just helping people, getting some kind of following, but not following for fame, but a following just because I want people to hear the music and for it to help them, because I am making the music. It's not it's not necessarily it's not uplifting music at all. It's it's for kind of when you're feeling something and you're in your feelings, yada yada. So it definitely it's used to help people, and used to relate to people, and people who could be in the same position that the songs are in, that the lyrics are in. So that's why we want to get a following, so people will listen to it, and so it can help them, or so they could get something from it or get inspiration from it. Not for fame or anything like that, but obviously that's probably most musicians of our genre, not making pop music or that kind of music, because it's not necessarily radio music. It's just music for feelings and whatnot.
It's music for the listener. Yeah. So you brought up the healing aspect of getting your music out there, and I think music is such an amazing thing when it comes to feeling. I mean, you can listen to something, it can make you cry. You listen to something, make you happy. And do you listen to a certain thing? Like if you're down in the dumps and you need to get out of something, where do you go? Do you go to listen to something that's happy music or something that's sad? I always find that interesting where someone goes for it.
Yeah, that's a great question. I always help you with that, and because now I don't have any type of mood music. I don't have any playlists. Like I'm always just listening to the next new stuff that I find, and I'm always trying to find new stuff. So But I swear it's always emotional music of some sort. It's always heavier and or it's like pop punkier, not like straight pop punk, but like pop punkier with like emo like lyrics and stuff like that. But it's always heavier these days. I'm super leaning into like post hardcore and um, just emo and new grunge and the new grunge type bands that are alt rocky but pretty grungy and those kind of bands. So I'm like all I'm listening to is that, and it's always been that way. Like I've always just listened to Counting Crows and I can't even tell you how many bands, all those '90s bands and that kind of, and whatever bands I was listening to, it's literally just whatever new band that I found. I've never been like, oh, I'm sad, I'm going to listen to a happy song to lift me up. It's never been like that, and it's funny that way. And maybe I should try to do it because maybe it would like I don't know change my moods and stuff. But I always just find myself being like finding a new song that I'm like, holy shit! Like how did I never hear this? And for me, it's never an indie song. It's never a surfy song. It's always like a harder song that has like a nasty riff or like just a nasty tone to it. Like that those things just get. It could be like a simple song as long as like it's just nasty and shit. I love it.
Yeah, and I think music has that way too, that when you need something, it finds you. Like that's the way I've always looked at it. And as much as I dig and try to find new music all the time, which I spent countless hours doing it just music always seems to find me when I need it most. Now, I mean, starting this and this being really new, and I know the whole DIY circuit was big for you, but I mean, creating and writing and putting a song together, it's not something that people just wake up and do. I mean, how did you, how did you do that?
I really just did. Like I didn't even learn. I don't even to this day. I don't even know how to play a single song, like a real like somebody's song, like like a Nirvana song or something. Like I've never sat down and learned songs. It's never been like interesting to me at all. I'm not a guitar player. I can play the guitar fine enough to play rhythm guitar in our band, but I am like not. I would not consider myself a guitar player or a riff writer or anything like that. I consider myself just like. I mean, I guess I consider myself a songwriter, but I don't even know. It's just I really just did it one day. I wrote a few songs that um, I learned basically what I did. Basically what I did is I learned like basics of music theory of just like making chords and learning what you can do with them and how many you can use, yada yada, and that kind of stuff. So then I learned power chords, and once I learned power chords, I haven't even touched. I swear I haven't touched anything other than power chords since then until the album that we're about to make. Like I just was like, all right, I'm just gonna make songs with power chords, and like this just seems easy, and I didn't have to learn any type of I didn't have to kind of learn what other structured deck. I just kind of started playing around with things and started moving my hands up and down the fretboard, and that's kind of how it goes. I feel like with a lot of new people, and then now I've started to learn a lot more semantics of theory and stuff. But when I was starting, yeah, that's it. I literally wrote some songs that were and the first songs that I wrote were the ones that got us signed. I took them down now because I do not like them, and they were the production wasn't well or anything like that, but they were decent enough. And I was like, all right, maybe this can go somewhere. Let me sit down for a little bit longer and try to write something else. But yeah, I mean, it's all been like that, and I should definitely go and learn. People always tell me, you got to go and learn some songs and see how other people are doing it and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't know, but I should do it.
Well, if you already have your formula and you're sticking to it, I mean, what you created already, and that's a question I have to ask. You put songs up that you weren't a songwriter, you weren't a guy who's been playing guitar his whole life. You created songs, you put them up, and I mean, when you got a reaction from it, I mean, what did that do for your psyche?
Yeah, it felt weird. It was weird because I was like, I mean, honestly, I've always had kind of the thought that like if I put my mind to something and I do it like put enough time into it, whatever, like I'll be successful. So it was kind of like, not like I was expecting any type of positive reviews, but it was kind of shocking to me. And it was like, oh, this is, maybe I should, keep doing this. But yeah, I completely boosted myself, especially at the time, because I was down with dumps and stuff. So even, one person saying, oh, I like this, I was like, oh shit, thank you. I'll keep doing it then, and then it just started building a little bit more and more each day. And then I realized, it was, got to just keep doing it. Every day you're going to get, one or two new followers and one or two new fans. And it's just going to keep building until you, eventually reach, you're never going to reach where you want to be. But especially in music, I hear that a lot. I'm going off on a tangent, but I hear that a lot. People are like success wise with music. How do you like gauge it? And like, I'm always like, I don't know. Like, I'm like, it's like the journey and the ride of doing it. And just like even playing like any shows, even if it's for 15 people, like I love it. Like, I don't have any type of qualm against it. Like, well, I'd just be sitting in my room, doing nothing, or like, I don't know, drinking with my friends. I don't know, something, you know what I mean? So like, I'd rather be playing music at anywhere, or I'd rather be writing music or doing something. And then if people like it, then great. But like, there's no like end all be all, unless you're like playing leads or like writing, you know what I mean? Like, there's no like end all, like, oh, unless you get like 1 million monthly listeners or shit like that, or you can straight up make a living off of your listening and you make a living off of your music. Obviously that's like a big time goal, but that's not something that I don't even think about. I'm just doing it for the fun of it and to get it out there. And I just know that it will kind of take off a little bit if I just keep it up and keep consistent. It's all about consistency, really.
Well, it's anything in life. You just got to stay consistent with something. Now, how long did it put? I mean, I can kind of do the math, but you put together, your EP and it came out in August. I mean, so that came together fairly quick to get an EP out and get some play on it. I mean, how did that come together so quickly, and how did you get everybody to be a part of it so fast and get it produced?
Yeah, I'm just really, really proactive about things, and not like this kind of, I'm not proactive with like my actual job, but like I'm really proactive with like this kind of stuff, like going out and hitting up people and following up with people and making sure that they hear me. So I messaged Joyce, Joyce Manor.
Yeah.
Go ahead and message them and ask them just who like produced all their stuff. And one of the guys that they told me was to go to was Alex Estrada. He's that's Che Amore. He produced Joyce Manor's self-titled album and remastered and everything, as well as Nails. And he was the lead in Silver Snakes. And so they told me to hit up him, and I hit him up, and he was down to do it, and he was able to get me in pretty quickly. And from when I was hounding the label to sign us, it took a while, a few months, but when they eventually did it, it was a quick, yeah, let's do it. And just whenever you get the masters in, we can release it. So then it was just me trying to release it, and I released that. That was all just me and Alex. That wasn't with the band. That was all just self-written, and then I just took all of my demos to Alex, and he fleshed out them and produced them into kind of not full songs, but he wrote the leads, like the lead guitar lines on those and that kind of stuff. But for that, yeah, I found the band right out. Literally, it was funny because I was recording the album when my current bassist, had messaged me on Instagram about joining the band. So that was, I wish we had, the full band for that one, and it would have been a lot better of an EP, but that's why this next album is going to be a lot bigger and better, and a lot more production stuff with the full band, and it's going to be cool.
Well, how long have you been writing for this album, considering you released an EP?
Yeah, it was pretty much been since then, since August. I mean, I kind of even had a couple of them, still, that I just didn't record for the EP, that I was just going to record for the album they had, but I've been kind of writing on and off since then, not too consistently. I've been so busy with shows and setting up other stuff, but now I have it all. Have like probably 14 songs that we're going to whittle down to 10, I think. So it's been an on and off process for the past, year, I guess.
And I mean, how are you making out with, I know California is a lot different than where I am out in New Jersey when it comes to regulations in the fucking world we live in right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, how is that impacting anything that you're trying to achieve right now? I mean, what's the biggest hurdle? Is that getting shows or getting into a studio? And
No, yeah. So, we just announced a tour today, and with Fencer, I don't know if you know the band Fencer, they were on tour with Bad Flower previously. So we just announced a tour with them, and we've been, 924 Gilman in Oakland venue. There's punk venue that they're shutting down right now because of COVID, and they don't know when they're going to be open again. And we were supposed to get a date there, and we got it canceled. And then we have all these live sessions that we were trying to set up with these college radio stations and other radio stations that they're like, oh, now it's protocol, we can't have anybody in, so we have to cancel them. And they were all supposed to be set up for while we were on the tour. And now, we're worried that, in a few weeks or from now until the tour, that some venues are going to hit us up and be like, oh, we can't let you guys in now. We're shutting down or something. And we're getting, a little anxious about that because we just announced the tour and we're gearing up for it and stuff. So, hopefully that doesn't happen, but it's looking kind of scary and people are worried about it. And it's, we're also worried about, we have a big show on the 15th, this Saturday at Garden Amphitheater in Garden Grove, and 300 cap room, and it's our celebration of a really late celebration of our EP. And people are scared for the COVID and stuff, and it's an indoor venue, and we're doing stuff like that, and it's just stuff like that we're like, oh man, I need this to be over. I just need it to be done. I'm so sick of it.
Yeah, and to me, it's crazy how shit has gone. Like, I was just at a show on Saturday, and the show that I'm supposed to go to this Saturday, that was pushed off. But the show that I'm going to that next Wednesday isn't, and it's like it's basically in the same place, and I'm like, I don't fucking know what to do anymore.
I know. It's like, some bars are closed, or some venues closed, but then bars stay open. I'm like, who are making the rules? I don't understand it. Restaurants stay open. I don't understand. There's less people coming into a music venue in Eugene, Oregon on a Tuesday than there is going into the bar on a Friday. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. There's more people in fucking Stop and Shop or whatever buying groceries than there are in the music venue. But well, listen, I hope it all goes well for you. I hope the tour goes well. I hope you don't get stuck out there somewhere, because that'd be fucking shitty. I know a lot of people it happened to when this all started, but I wish you the best with that. I know you got somewhere to be, so that's pretty important. So I don't want to keep you much longer. I got 2 questions left for you. First one is, it's an end of the world scenario question, where I know you listen to a lot of music. I do too, but this could always change. Mine changes daily. But if a meteor was coming to hit the Earth, and you had 5 minutes to live, and you have to listen to one song, do you know one song off the top of your head you listen to right now?
Oh man, it wouldn't be enough time for one of the songs, actually, 5 minutes. So, probably a song called Untitled by Counting Crows, Untitled Love Song. Great song.
It is a great song. And yeah, listen, I've had people say Stairway to Heaven, and I'm like, yeah, it's 8.5 minutes long, man. You're not going to get the whole song.
I was going to say Palisades Park.
So before I get to my last question, I want to give you the opportunity, Matt, to tell all of our listeners how to find everything that Crossing Eyes Dotting T's is doing, how to follow you guys, all that kind of stuff. If you want to throw your handles out there for our listeners.
We got on Instagram, we're Crossing Eyes Dotting T's band. We just got verified yesterday. It's huge for us. Go follow us. That shows you we're legit. Then we got CIDT band on Twitter. And then I think we're on TikTok is Crossing Eyes Dotting T's. And that's it. Spotify and every other DSP is just Crossing Eyes Dotting T's. How it's in the title, I''S and T''S, but that's about it.
Well, awesome. It's been great having you here. Our last question, it's our weekly 3 segment. It's 3 things you're listening to right now that you'd like people to check out.
let's see. What am I listening to right now? I'm listening to God, what's it? Spice, Ross Fair, one of Ross Fair's bands. Tiny Stills. They're going to be on one of the shows with us at Jam in the Van on the 26th. And Spare Parts for Broken Hearts. That's 3.
Awesome. My 3 for this week. First one, Gold Root out of Detroit. They're a pop punk melodic hardcore band. Name of the album is called Prosper. Number 2 is Stuck Out. They're an Australian pop rock emo-ish band. There's an album called Lie Through Your Teeth. It's an EP. It's awesome. And last but not least, a band called Shaded. The Better Man in Me is the name of the album. They're British experimental funk pop punk with some really cool beats in it for people who want to check some new stuff out. But Matt, thank you so much for being here. Go celebrate your mother's birthday. Tell her I said happy birthday. And for all of our listeners out there, you know what to do next. You go out, listen to Crossing Eyes and Dotting T's, and have a great fucking time.
Thank you for having me.
So take the bottle, take the fear, reflecting off my bedroom mirror. The face that I once called my own is slowly dying, I don't know who I am, who I've come to be. My nightmares just reflect my dreams, and just because I'm sad today, it doesn't mean I'm owed anything. Locked away inside my room, I'm contemplating everything I once knew. And I don't wanna live the way you do. Regret stained memories that you hold on to. Do you know who you want to be? Are you reflecting everything? Post your pictures for the masses. Worry about everything after. Anything to not feel alone. I know how it goes. Locked away inside my room, I'm contemplating everything I once knew. And I don't wanna live the way you do. Regret stained memories that you hold on to.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.